Hi, I'm Jeff Goulding and I'm a Liverpool author.
And I'm Kieran Smith, the Liverpool historian.
Together, we've been working on a great new project, which is a book out later this year entitled The Untouchables, Anfield's Band of Brothers.
It's a great story about one of the greatest sides in Liverpool's history who won back-to-back titles in the 1920s.
Yeah, this is a team that is absolutely packed with incredible characters. Men who fought on the battlefields of Europe in the First World War and returned home to claim 2 league titles in a row.
And it's due for release in the UK in September. And thanks to our friendship now with the Liverpool Connection podcast, it's also going to be made available through them in the United States at the same time.
Good morning to us, me and Steve. A good afternoon to everybody in the UK, and maybe nighttime in Asia. But we are the Liverpool Connection podcast. And just want to say thank you to the listeners. Keep subscribing, keep liking. We like it so we can put out more and more of these special shows. And talking of special, our special guest today, he was actually here about a year ago, and I can't believe it's been nearly a year, is the legend, George Sephton. Hiya, George.
Hi, Daz. Is it a year?
Yeah.
It seems like about 3 days, doesn't it? I mean, I'm getting to the stage now, I don't know what day it is anymore. I have to get up in the morning and then think for about 5 minutes where I am, who I am, and what day it is, and then get on with it.
Yeah,
it's a strange world.
I think the best thing, as long as you know your name, then you're going to have a good day.
Good start, yeah.
So it's great to have you back. And in that year, you've had a book come out.
Yes.
The Voice of Anfield.
Yes, my 50 years at Liverpool Football Club. It's. I think when I spoke to you last, it was just about being finished.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of the few people who could find something good to say about lockdown, because when it was getting to the sharp end, when I needed to finish the book off, all of a sudden the country's locked down, not allowed to leave the house. So I was sitting here where I am now at my little desk, just typing away, and got the book finished. And thanks to good old Zoom, we found a good publisher. He came on board and then got stuck into the work. I never knew there was so much involved. I mean, the guys at Atlantic Books have worked wonders with this thing. There's so much work gone into it after I finished with it. And then last week, May the 6th, it was published, although it had been on pre-order at Amazon for quite a while before that. I was amazed how far in advance it went, but it's been exciting to say the least. As I think you know, on launch day last week, I was on daytime TV and nearly had heart failure because I was chatting away to the interview, and all of a sudden Jürgen pops up on the screen behind me and saying all these nice things. It was a good 2 days before my head stopped spinning up. It really was. It was amazing. And God bless Jürgen. I said to my publishers, he'll be sending in a bill for commission before long. He's done so much to publicise this book. It's been absolutely priceless.
I bet you could get at least 2-3 books out of you.
Well, yes. I must admit, the book that's out is just over 80,000 words. When I sent the first manuscript in, which was, 18 months, maybe just a bit more, it was 123,000 words. Now, that was edited down to 80,000. Then, obviously, there was more time elapsed before it came out, so there was quite a bit more went into it. Then it was edited again, and it ended up, it's just over 80,000 words, which is what I was contracted to. And I said to somebody yesterday, after all that's happened, in the world, especially in Liverpool, for the last 18 months. I've got another book there to go at. So I'm once the dust settles after these couple of busy weeks, and once it gets to close season, maybe I'll start on that. That'd be interesting, to say the least.
When's the official release in the US?
August the 6th. But I believe you can, if you find a friendly local bookshop, they can actually order it now. But it'll be coming out on Amazon in America and Canada on the 6th of August, which I'm really looking forward to. I know I've got a list of places you can buy it now, which is very weird. It's Amazon in Germany, Japan, India, Italy, Spain, and somewhere else. In Scandinavia, apparently you can buy it off Amazon UK, which is very weird. But then Scandinavia is a special case. You know, there are a huge contingent of Liverpool fans in Scandinavia, which is very, very pleasing. But I don't understand the logic. I would have thought that the US was, a big market to be got at first, but I'm just doing what I'm told now. Going
sitting pretty.
Yeah, well, sitting. I don't know about pretty. Yeah.
Well, I'll bring Steve in now to say hello.
Hey, hello, George. Thanks for coming
Steve.
back on. It's great to see you again, looking healthy and wise. And and like Daz said, it's been a year since we've had you on, and it seems like it's gone so fast, And then we look back at, we've had 60 some episodes, 70 episodes almost since then, and it's been very exciting our year too. But it has to be very exciting for you because the reception that we've seen for your book has been outstanding. Even before Klopp and had come out and visited with you, we're members of so many Facebook groups, and we just see your book plastered everywhere, and it has to be very exciting for you to see the kind of reception that is getting across the Liverpool family universe.
Absolutely, it's been so pleasing. Obviously, Liverpool fans will probably buy it, but then the next thing you want to hear them say, I enjoyed that, or I like that, or whatever. And as you say, the reception has been fantastic. And it's trundling along nicely now. I mean, we got into the top 50 on Amazon UK last weekend, just after the broadcast with Jurgen in it. But now it's just sort of settled down. It's fluttering along, and people are starting to buy it elsewhere. And then the big thing will be in the school holidays during the summer. The tourists will be back at Liverpool. The Liverpool fans who go on the tour and wander around the grounds and try and get autographs and then go in the club store. I'm very hopeful to do well out of them. And then I'm just sort of pursuing other avenues at the moment. Let's just see what else we can do to publicise it. But it's been wonderful. As I said, you saw me on the TV when Jurgen came on, and the headline in the local paper the next day made me laugh. Said, Jurgen Klopp drives George Sephton to tears on national TV. It's true. I was struggling to hold it together then. I got away with it, and it was wonderful.
At least there's still things that could bring you to those type of emotions, and you've brought so many great emotions to fans for all these years, and so once again we thank you for all you've done for to help promote the club. And
just doing my job, sir. Yeah. Allegedly.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. So you talked about holidays coming up in the summer. What do you normally do in a normal situation after the season ends?
Well, try getting the blood pressure down to 4 figures. Basically, this summer's a strange one because of the length of the season and what's happened during the season. And obviously now I'm 75. I don't have to work 9 to 5 during the week as well as working at Liverpool. So it's not as bad as it could be. I know the last job I had, 9 to 5, before I retired, was in a very stressful situation at a company around the corner from where I live, who hire out cherry pickers of all things. And that was an amazing hothouse, that place. It sounded, when I went in, I thought, this is a nice little desk job, keep me going for a couple of years till I get my pension. And I used to come home every night from work, like that, But so my wife and I, every summer we go off to Scotland, somewhere really quiet and peaceful, and just chill out for a week or two. This year, obviously, there's the football tournament and what about the Euros, which would be nice to watch. We always I love football tournaments, the big international things like that, the World Cup and the Euros. So I've got that to look forward to, and just see what comes along. I've got a couple of places to go and see. Supporters clubs rather have asked me to go up and say hello. They're not too far away, and the other thing we'll be able to get to see our family who live down in the south of England. I haven't seen my eldest granddaughter, who's 22. I haven't seen her since 2019. Wow. Well, obviously on Zoom, I've had a lot of chats with her, but we haven't seen her in the flesh for a long time. Her dad is my eldest son. His wife and his other daughter are coming to see us in the summer when the schools are on holiday. So that's something to look forward to. And I always find every year you get to the end of the close season, and you think it's been about 5 minutes since you left Anfield. And this year is going to be strange, of course, because hopefully we'll have a big crowd back in Anfield. And this last 12 months has been really, really strange. I have to say, people keep asking me, "What are you looking forward to getting back to Anfield?" And I say, I've not been away from Anfield. I've been there every game. I just don't have that much to do at the moment because there's no crowd to entertain, basically. And yeah, I'm worried that when we have our first game, actually looking down at 54,000 people again will be weird. We've been worn down. It's such a strange place because you watch Liverpool play on the TV. In the background, well, it's the same applies to all the big games. In the background, you can see all the banners. Some stadiums have cardboard cutouts of the, people who paid a £5 to have their image put on a seat and that sort of thing. And then you get the crowd noises on top of it. It's not bad watching it on the TV, but when you're in the place and it's so quiet, it's really, really spooky. And obviously, I've been to all the games. And before we started playing behind closed doors, we had some practice sessions. We had a couple, and there was just the Saturday staff, the match day staff came in to make sure we could get in and out without bumping into each other. And everybody knew which route to take to their particular corner. And everybody was up to speed with the code, the protection equipment, everything like that. Then we had a couple of practice matches. We played Blackburn behind closed doors. We played Blackpool behind closed doors. They had a match when the first team squad basically played against the under-23s. And then one day they had a giant training session just to get us all into the groove ready for when we opened up again for the TV. So that's we've had an awful lot of matches behind closed doors, and it's now we're going to have to get back into the old routine very, very quickly. And incidentally, the season starts on the 14th of August, which is actually my 50th anniversary.
Oh, nice.
And it's also my daughter's 40th birthday. So that's going to be quite a weekend, man, one way or the other. But,
that will be.
I'm
sorry, George. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Sorry, I was just going to say I'll be back on the blood pressure tablets by then, I think. Sorry, carry on, Steve.
No, I was just going to say, I heard that when they reopened up for fans to come in, that City, they were going to keep their cardboard cutouts. So.
Yeah. I can believe that. I'm saying nothing. I'll get into trouble. But,
that's right.
No,
hey, we can say it.
Yeah, they probably make more noise than the regular crowd.
That's right. That's right. Hey, I wanted to ask you, George. We've had quite a few authors on our shows, this past year, Jeff Goulding, George Scott. And one of the things that they mentioned when they're going back and writing these books, it really triggers a lot of memories for them. They remember things that they hadn't thought about in many, many years. Did you find that same process with you?
Exactly the same. I'm still remembering things now, even though the book's been out. I've had some messages from people I used to know years ago who've seen the book on the TV, and they track me down on Facebook or whatever, and they'll say, "Do you remember such and such a thing happening?" And I thought, "Oh, forgotten about it. Yeah, you're right. That was on such and such a date." When I was doing the book, I fished around in my house. I found a lot of old diaries, and then I could remember things, but I couldn't remember details. It's very difficult to put exact dates on some things. You can remember something happening, but you can't remember the exact date. So I'll be looking on Wikipedia. I've filled in everything, well, most of the things. My younger son is 40. Hang on to get it right. He's 46 now. And he went to his first game when he was 3 years old. Right? There was only a reserve game, but he started going to the first team games when he was 5, I think. He went to Wembley to the League Cup final when he was 7. And he's got an amazing memory. You can talk to him and say, "Remember that match against Wolves in 1983?" And he said, "Oh, that was when so-and-so scored from across from the left wing by him." And he does these things. And I know he was priceless when I was trying to get bits of details of information for the book. It's amazing. I know about 3 or 4 years ago, he came with me to the supporters club dinner one night, and Ian St. John, God rest him, was there. Ian was at the bar talking to this old friend of his, and I was standing behind him with my son. And Ian St. John is talking to this friend about the Cup Winners' Cup final in Glasgow in 1967. And my lad chips in, "Oh, was that one where Muller scored from that wonderful run down the right wing?" And Ian and his friend are looking at me and looking at Laurie and said, "What? That was 10 years before you were born almost. How do you know these things?" And he just assimilates information. He should, if there was music hall going now, he'd be going on as one of these memory man acts. He would. He's amazing. But all in all, I've got all these facts and figures together and tried to get them to flow. I think I've succeeded, but I say there's an awful lot more stuff to go in. And these last 12 months have been amazing. They've been freaky, but they've really been an amazing year in my life. They've been a year in everybody's life for different reasons, but all in all, they've been there's been so much going on behind the scenes, and things to look forward to. And the book that's out now finishes at the start of this season, September the 10th last year. Obviously, it had to have a cut-off point, and we decided that was it. But so many things have happened since then. And I'd love to get them all down in the book. In fact, all the time now, I'm carrying a notebook around, and I'm scribbling notes and again, I'm getting the old diaries out and doing a lot of Googling online. It could be interesting. I'll see what happens when I start writing it all down, see how much space it takes up.
Yeah, maybe you can reclaim your 40,000 words.
That's true, yes. Sadly, I think all the 40,000 were, well, obviously they were historical mostly, but there's a couple of things I'd like to get in that were left out of the original book. I mean, things that happened to me in that time, and the stupid little things like the start of this season, September 10th, home to Leeds in the Premier League, and I turned up to Anfield, and I was obviously, my chest is out. This is the start of my 50th season. I'm so proud of myself. And then I got stopped going in. The woman on the accreditation desk said, "Can I help you, look?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going in." "What's your name?" And then she couldn't find my name on the list. She wasn't going to let me in. And I said, "Hang on, you sure you're spelling my name right?" And she wasn't. So she found me on the list and let me go in. And she said, "Go over there, get your bag search." So I go in, the bag search, woman I'd never seen before, looks at me, "Can I help you, mate?" Yeah, you have to search me. But, "Oh, why do you work here, do you?" I said, "Well, I've not been here long, 49 years, that's all." And then she's looking at me as if I'm crazy. Get past her, and another two stewards stopped me going in. "You can't go in there." And by the time I got to the fifth, I was good and mad. We're going through the same, the routine. "You can't go in there." And I'm saying, "I think you'll find I can." Yeah. And off I went. I got away. But by the second game, they'd all been told to look out for the old fool. He said he does actually work here. He belongs. Let him in.
They put a big picture of you at the front.
Well, I wouldn't be at all surprised that because by the time I got to the third match, I was still getting stopped. But by then, I'm carrying the book around saying,
"That's me.
My 50 years at Anfield. I think I know where I'm going." And then lately, Anfield, because there's no crowds in, they've been using the big lounges in the Kenny Dalglish stand as a vaccination centre, which is great, except that the people going in to get vaccinated are going in the same gates as me and the other people who work on that side. My little room is on the top floor of the Kenny Dalglish stand. And now we had more stewards who were letting me in, but they were pointing me in the lounge so I could go and have my COVID vaccine. I said, "No, I work here." Then somebody else would say, "Get in that lift, it's on the first floor." And I'm saying, "No, I'm going to the third floor." And they were arguing with me. And then eventually somebody say, "Do you know where you're going?" And I said, "I think I can find my way, thank you." And again, showed on the book, 50 years at Anfield. That's me. I think I can find my way. It's just a running joke now. It keeps us sane.
Just take that everywhere you go now.
Yeah, make it into a big old necklace.
Yeah, it's like an ID for you, George.
Yes, it's just as well. So we have. I do have an ID card. It's not the usual one I get. I've got one that hangs around my neck, which got my photograph on it and says stadium announcer, which is nice. But this year they haven't been giving them out because there's just no point. There's so few people around the ground. But I have got a little credit card size card that says I'm a casual match day safety steward. So, I'll just carry that. At least it gets me in. Once I can get in, I can argue the toss with the people inside.
Yeah. If you can make a couple copies of those when we go over, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah, we'll do. It could be arranged.
We got to get a book, Daz, so we can point to the book and.
Yeah.
Nudge, wink, wink.
I do say to people that if you had a lot of money to look after, don't put it in a bank or in Fort Knox. Just bring it to Anfield, because nobody will ever get near it. It's so hard to get in. It's harder to get in Anfield than it is to get in the Bank of England now. It's just probably a good thing, but it's annoying sometimes for people who are supposed to be in there, like me. There you go.
Well, I mean, it's got to be like, you know, last match of the season, you're going to have 10,000 people in. So, you know, that's going to be an amazing atmosphere for those 10,000.
It is.
And for yourself as well.
Absolutely. It'll be good for me because I'll have more to do. And I've been saying to people lately, you know, just before Christmas, we had a couple of games where they had 4,000 people in. And the atmosphere of those games was amazing. I think it was Wolves. Yeah. We played Wolves, and one of the players said in the interviews afterwards, he kept looking around to see where all the noise was coming from. Because, you know, there were 4,000 people in there. But the noise coming from those 4,000 was amazing. And I was the same. I was sort of looking around. I was saying to people, where are they all? I can see they're all sitting on the cop. But there was noise, you know, that could have come from 5 times as many people. At least it was terrific. But the thing is, I think the people who got the tickets were local people. Yeah. You know, it would be Liverpool fans all their lives. And, you know, traditional Liverpool fans were a lot more noisy than, you know, the people who just, you know, started following Liverpool the last few years. And of course, they were all so keen to get in and see Liverpool, you know, be inside Anfield again. The adrenaline was pumping for everybody. It was quite something. So I'm looking forward to Sunday.
Yeah, I heard there was, because we had a few mates go to the Wolves match. I know, just a few mates, that's all. Just I can count on my hand how many mates I have. But yeah, they said it was very emotional. They cried for the first 15 minutes because, I mean, Liverpool is part of their lives. That's the thing. Same with yourself. I mean, I'm sure it's going to get emotional for you as well. Are you going to have you started getting a special music together?
Oh yeah, I always do a playlist. The last half a dozen games behind closed doors, what they've been doing, there's been somebody else playing the music, which has been specially selected by the players apparently. And obviously my playlists are eclectic, I think is a good word. They're unique to football. Everybody you speak to says that you go to another ground and all you get is, you know, the top 20 dance music singles that are going on. I pick and choose mine very carefully, and there's a steady theme right through that. I'll always have a couple of local artists in. There'll always be one of the Cop's old favourites. Then there'll be the tub thumping stuff. You like Thunderstruck by AC/DC has turned into our second anthem last few years. And I'll get all those together. I've got one for next Sunday ready. I mean, there's certain things on it. Oh, there's a track by a Norwegian girl called Mør. Well, it's M, and the O with the line through it. And that's called Our Final Song. I'll play that at the end just in case I get the big heave-ho during the summer. But other than that, it's you know, I try my best to keep everybody happy, which is tricky because, as you know, the age range is unique. It's, you know, as you say, 5 to 95. But by and large, I think the stuff I play is liked by the great majority. And it's the other way around. They'll be so happy to be inside Anfield. They won't care. I play the Chinese national anthem for half an hour. They'll still be happy. And there's a couple of new bands been waiting for 15 months for me to play their first single. So I'll see how much time I have on Sunday before I get stuck in. The problem we may have is that even though we're letting people in, the TV crews aren't allowed in the main stand to do their interviews, in the mix zone behind the dressing room. So they've got to do it out on pitch side. And while they're doing that, I can't play music because they'll drown everybody out. So we have to wait till they've finished and then go. But, last time when we had people in, I think I got the go ahead about an hour before kickoff. But the last few games, it's been 45 minutes before kickoff, and that doesn't leave you a lot of time. By the time you've got the team lining up and coming out and playing You Never Walk Alone and whatever, if it's not going to allow me a lot of time, but I'll just have to get stuck in and do the best I can and hope they're in the mood.
George, let me ask you a question. My kids, they make fun of me because I don't know any contemporary music, right?
Yeah.
For me, contemporary is the 1980s, and I'm just stuck in that genre for music.
Yeah.
So, you're saying that the vast majority of the songs that you play are, they're very popular, right?
Yeah.
So is someone bringing you songs, say, hey, George, listen to this, or you just listen to the radio and you find new music? How's that happen?
I have a lot of sources, and I do a mix. Obviously, things have sort of grown on everybody over the years. They're all there. New local bands, I'll always try and squeeze one or two in.
Okay.
And again, nowadays they just email me and send me an MP3.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a program on English TV called Later with Jules Holland, late on a Friday night. And I always watch, when he's on, I always watch that because he has a wonderful mix of people, established artists, new people. And every week I'll sit and watch, and there'll be a couple of tracks I'll think, what on earth is that? And then later it'll be, wow, that's good. I'll hear that. I'll go and find it and download it. And also, over the years, I've built up a relationship with a couple of promotions people in London. And now the people who are sending me new stuff are sending me stuff I know is going to be a huge hit. I mean, big artists, not the Backstreet Cowboys anymore. That's something I've done for a long time. But I know when I first started at Anfield, I made an arrangement with the local record store, started getting music from them in exchange for a free advertisement in the program and me plugging on. Then I moved on to the bigger chains before it got too expensive for them and that all stopped. But one of the first things I did when I started at Anfield, I made a list of all the record companies and I wrote to them and said, look, you're sending out promotional material to guys who are DJs in local clubs. They get an audience of 500 if they're lucky. I've got an audience of 50,000. Is it not worth your while sending stuff to me? And a lot of them did. And I did well out of it for a long time. So I always had enough music to play and I was always ahead of the game. And now it's weird. Occasionally I'll get an email. Well, not this season, obviously, but during normal times, I'll get an email saying, why don't you play some contemporary music? And I said, well, here's a list of what I played last match. And here's 20 tracks at random. Out of those 20 tracks, I can see there's half a dozen have not been released yet. How much more up to date can I get than stuff that's not available to buy for another couple of months?
Right.
And they occasionally they see the logic, but most of the time they just don't bother answering it. But I'm quite content with the mix of stuff I've got, and I have a complete faith in my own listening ability. I know there's things I like. I mean, you're talking about your contemporaries being the 80s. I mean, I'm, that's just lying on my desk there. It's something I'm playing in the car. That's stuff from the 60s, and again, rock and roll, original rock and roll from the early 50s right through to the 60s. I play a lot of that in the car, and some of it is still, worth listening to today. And people say don't play old stuff, and they'd say, "Well," I say, "What do you mean by old?" And they said, "Well, anything before the 80s and 90s." I said, "Okay, I'll stop playing all that stuff." So there goes "You Never Walk Alone." There goes "Ring of Fire." There goes, and there's a whole list of tunes they don't realise are going back 50 years. It's priceless. And normally, nobody will come back and say, "I'm sorry, you're right," but they'll just go and leave me alone for a while.
Well, speaking of playlists, you collaborated with Mark Kenny for the COP Connect Radio. How did that come about?
I've known Mark for ages. I met him when he and I were doing supporters functions at the Hilton Hotel in Liverpool, and we've always been in touch. And again, he's one of the people who sent me his music when he was issuing singles a few years ago, and he rang me out of the blue. I don't know, earlier this season, saying he had this idea about getting me on Cop Connect Radio and going through my playlist and talking about it and talking about the upcoming games we just played. And it was weird because when I just started going through a playlist with him, then all of a sudden this business about the players picking the pre-match music turned up. So what we've been doing since is I've been making a playlist as if it was a normal game and picking half an hour's worth of music, and we'll talk through that. And we call it a virtual playlist. Obviously, next Sunday, hopefully, it'll be a real playlist. And we'll see what happens. I don't know. So at this minute, it's now 2:39 p.m. in England. I don't know what's happening with the music at this time next week at the Crystal Palace game, but hopefully I'll find out during the week, and I'll be ready. Well, I'm ready now. I've got a playlist smashed around a USB stick in front of me here, ready to rumble. You've got to be prepared for all eventualities, really. There's a lad in Adelaide who started writing to me a while ago. He started off with his local junior club, and basically he wants to be the Australian version of me. And he got a gig at one of the bigger clubs, and he said to me, "Is there any one piece of advice you can give me?" And I said, "Yeah, always assume that everything that could possibly go wrong will go wrong, and just think, what would I do?" It's happened at Anfield. We had power cuts, streakers, bomb threats, you name it. It's all happened. And then one night none of the USB sticks had worked. There's a problem in the equipment. I've got a little pile of CDs hiding on my desk, which will keep us going for a couple of hours if needs be. And I've only had to ever use them once. The same applies now. I'm just I'm prepared. Whatever happens next Sunday, hopefully I'll be ready for it. Having said that, what happened with Jurgen on the TV the other day completely destroyed that idea. I was not ready for it.
When there's a streaker on the pitch, do you play any music? Do you play like Benny Hill theme with Benny Hill or anything like that?
Touch wood, we haven't had one for a while.
Yes, it has been a while, yeah.
But basically, if there's a streaker on the pitch, all I'll do is get my binoculars out, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the last one was probably like late 80s, I would think.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too long. We need one Come on, Dazza, get over there and get going.
Oh no, you'll definitely need binoculars then.
Yeah, I think our stewards are a bit quicker than they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
they pass the fitness test now.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm sure they do.
Oh, it's gonna be great to hear you again. Because it's really funny, because over here on NBC, and it's very bizarre, because at like half time you'll hear "You'll Never Walk Alone," which is never ever done at Anfield. You always
not in the last 50 years anyway.
Yeah, so it's very weird to hear that on the telly, and you're just going, it just doesn't sound right. And I can't wait to get back, to hearing actual proper crowd instead of the crowd, the fake crowd noises. They do my head in. It's just.
I would say I think I preferred it to the silence, but then obviously I'm used to the silence at Anfield anyway. And when I'm sat at home watching the TV when Liverpool are away, I'm quite happy with the crowd noises most of the time, except sometimes they get it wrong. I know. Trying to think. I think it was Everton at home the other week, and I swear blind I could hear "You Never Walk Alone" in the back room. Nothing to do with Liverpool. We weren't there. Everton had a home game against somebody or other. It wasn't us. And I said to me, "Well, I could hear "You Never Walk Alone." And I know the guy who was responsible for sourcing the crowd noises at Anfield when it all started last August. He got this stuff together. He was given a selection of sounds to do. I mean, he sent it back. He said, "I've never heard any of these chants or noises at Anfield. Now can we get it right, please?" And by the time we came back again, it sounded okay. But and I know there's been a few instances that goals being scored for the opposition, and they've got the noise of the home crowd cheering, and vice versa, the goal being disallowed, and then the crowd start cheering for the goal. But that's forgivable nowadays because of VAR. Every time a goal's scored, you don't just put the microphone on and say Mohamed Salah just scored, because maybe he didn't. You got to wait for the inquiry. Luckily, I sit next to the guy who operates the VAR screen, and he has pair of headphones linking him to Stockley Park, where VAR is, and he's inclined to leave them on the desk, turned up loud, so he can hear them without actually putting them on his head.
Is he from Manchester too? Is he from Manchester?
Probably.
Yeah, right.
Don't get me started. Having said that, we were watching the FA Cup final yesterday, and the noise when the Chelsea goal was disallowed was amazing. That's the first I've ever heard that loud. I mean, we've had some bad decisions against us from VAR, as you know. We've also had a couple of things going the other way, and it's been a cheer then, but I don't know. I'm not going to get rid of it. I'll be glad when I actually get it right, because it could be, a lot better, a lot quicker. I know a couple of years ago, when the Women's World Cup was on, my wife and I were being the game, and it was useless. And towards the end, they had a meeting, and it calmed down a lot. But then I was watching the cricket, and then they have a review in cricket, and you can hear everything. You've got the screens everywhere. You can see what the umpires are watching. You can hear what they're talking about, and then the same goes for rugby, rugby league, rugby union. They, it's up on the screen, and you can hear the conversation, and it's much, much better, and they're well used to it now, and they're very quick with it too.
Yeah, football needs to learn a thing or two about that, because VAR at the moment is it's just pulling the heart and soul out of me.
Absolutely.
just because, I mean, some of the decisions are millimeters, just like yesterday's with Chelsea's goal. I mean, and then you look back, Bobby Firmino's, it was his hair and his armpit that was offside. So that they've got to get that right. But yeah, I think it's the fans. We kind of need to know what they're talking about, and we're just left kind of clueless as to what's going on at Stockley Park, because some of these offsides are it's madness.
It's complete madness.
I mean, I totally understand. I mean, I'm confused about the handball as well. When is it handball? When it's not handball? Because even the tackle on Nat Phillips the other day, if that had happened outside the box, it would have been a free kick, because I've seen it given. So why wasn't it a penalty? Even though Bally had taken the ball, he still went through the man. So I was a bit confused by that. But
no, I think you had to sit back and think which stadium that was in, to be honest. But say no more.
Yeah, but the good thing is, the final score. That's all I cared about. I mean, it could have been 6 or 7.
Very easily. And now, of course, we've got 3 or 4 bananas. No, 3 banana skins to trip over now.
Yeah,
West Brom, Burnley, and then Palace.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, my nerves will be shredded by this time next week. I tell you, but
yeah, imagine I think last time we had fans, there were only 2,000 people allowed, right, George? Yeah. And so if we have something to play for that last game with 10,000, it's going to be amazing. So we're keeping our fingers crossed for that, for sure.
The trouble with today's game is that West Brom know their fate. And they'll be a lot more relaxed. They'll probably play some decent football today.
Yeah, we hope so.
Sam Allardyce has been saying he wants to hurt Liverpool for whatever reason. So somebody said there's Jurgen's team talk taken care of. Don't need to motivate them anymore.
Yeah, just put Big Sam's picture up in the dressing room. That's all you need. Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
We owe West Brom a beating anyway from the last game we played them, which wasn't very, very good for us. But yeah, looking forward to it. I think it's been a long time, a couple of years since it's gone down to like the final few games for the top 4. So hopefully we can sneak in the back door, and because a club like Liverpool needs to be in the Champions League, period.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, said to my wife yesterday, I'd be quite happy, but I'd be deliriously happy if Chelsea win the Champions League.
Yeah.
And if that happens and Chelsea finish 5th in the league, apparently we get an extra slot in the Champions League. But I'd be much happier if we had just fell into fourth place and stopped having to worry about it. Well, I say we're not going to know for another 8 days, basically.
Yeah, 3 games in 8 days. Wow.
Yeah.
That's madness. Not as mad as United playing three games in 5 days, but that's a bit their fault.
Well, yeah, that's what people seem to have conveniently forgot. They're doing that because of their fans. I do not understand why that match wasn't conceded. Yeah, I'm sure if it happened at Anfield, it would have been.
But, see, that's the thing, George. Like, I'm totally with you. If our fans had gotten in the stadium, I guarantee a hefty fine. And who knows what after that? It just doesn't sit well with me that United didn't get. I mean, from what I know, they haven't been fined. And it just basically looked like some stewards had opened the door, and said, "Go on, get on the pitch." Because that for a massive match like United and Liverpool, the security should have especially on social media, everyone knew United fans were going to be outside. So I don't understand that, but that's United's problem. it's over with. You know, they tried it again with the bus and everything, which I thought was hilarious. They got the wrong bus.
Yeah, twice.
Yeah.
That was funny. Having said that, you know, I feel desperately sorry for the people, you know, the poor coach driver. You know, it's just doing his job, and he must have been seriously worried when he was out there. I'm presuming there were quite a few police secreted around the place, just ready in case there was trouble. But it only takes one lunatic, and you know, he could have been in a real state.
Yeah, I mean, it was just. I actually did. You see the lady on the bicycle with the fella in the front with a poodle?
Don't think so.
Oh, Steve, you saw that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it was hilarious. She was on like a tricycle, and she had a box on the front, and there was a fella in there with a poodle that had just gone past the screen. You know, when they popped the tires. That was the best thing I've seen. I was like, I need to find a woman who will actually get on a bicycle and you know, push me.
Yeah. As long as they didn't try and push me, they'd be in serious trouble. Yeah.
I could see you in a basket in front of a bicycle, George.
With a poodle.
No, I'm trying not to at the moment.
Well, George, again, it's been an absolute pleasure for you to come on. You know, twice. We're very lucky, and I can't wait to read your book. Defo, everybody, please pre-order it, or you know, wait till August 6th over in the States, please.
I think you can order it now on Amazon.com.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, but say if you got an audience far distant, it's definitely on Amazon in Japan, Italy, India, and Brazil, and places like that. I know a couple of people I know in Canada have got hold of one, but not quite sure how that works. But it's on its way. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
Domination of the world. Next.
We look forward to you writing the second book, and hopefully, you know, a few more years at Anfield for you.
Yeah, I hope my marbles stay in one place that long. That's all I hope.
Yeah. Hopefully, you won't be playing the same song over and over again.
No, not that. When that happens, you'll see them wheeling me away. Don't worry.
That's right.
Don't let him back in.
Yeah.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, George. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Great to see you again, George.
And you, Steve. Cheers, Daz.
Cheers.
Guys. See you soon.